Yours truly, Tammy B, coming to you with another session of Real Talk with Tammy B and Company, the show where we are recording live so that you amazing people can engage with us via the YouTube chat. So if you are watching via another platform, I invite you to jump over to YouTube and join us to be part of the conversation. And speaking of it, I'm trying to see what's happening. It's not streaming. It's YouTube isn't streaming. Hold on, guys. Let's see. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. It needed me to play. Okay, let me mute me over there. All right. Good afternoon, guys. We've been having some technical difficulties, and me not seeing the stream kind of made me nervous. But all is well, and that's why I constantly say one of the parts of Real Talk and live stream is we continue moving in spite of what we call technical difficulties. So, as always, I want to thank you, amazing people, for being with us. And if you are on the chat, I just want to ask you to feel free to drop us questions and or comments throughout the conversation. And before we get started, if you are not part of our community, I invite you to join us as we are here weekly at 7:30 p.m. Eastern with new content. So subscribe to us so you can be notified when we are back. And I also want to ask if you enjoy our conversation, which I am so confident that you will. Please support us by dropping us a comment and clicking the like button, and as well as sharing it with others. And so, before we get into the talk, I first want to acknowledge our first comment of the day, Miss Marcia Maddox. Greetings, great day, and gratitude. Queen, we say that to you. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. And so I want to give you guys an announcement. August 1st, mark your calendars, gentlemen, because this is for the men only. I am going to be hosting a 1 day conference here in Atlanta. It will be our official men's transformational conference. It's for men's only. It's part of our monthly Real Talk, Real Men conversation, and it's in collaboration with Whoa Sister Pause. We are going to be having Pause, Breathe Bro, You Matter, which will be a safe space where men can come together, hear from dynamic speakers, and speak freely about their mental health. Okay, so I am always, as you know, grateful for everyone being with us, along with my peeps, my man, Mr. Shelly Sims. Hey, Shelly.
Hello, 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 hello.
Shelly, we don't get this often. You don't have the baseball cap. I don't know if
Hey,
I'm
look,
you.
I wasn't sure this week. I wasn't sure this week.
I know the elders are in the building, so you said,
Yeah,
let
so
me
I
take
said,
the
let
cap
me
off.
let me leave my hat alone. Let me put my grown man on for a minute.
I love it. I love it. Well, your grown man looks good on you.
Thank
It
you
looks
very
good
much.
on you. And so we also have a new member of the team, but she's also multitasking right now. So she'll be with us when she gets a chance. So you guys will see and meet Miss Maya. And now this is the first Wednesday of the month. Several things taking place today. Today is our Wisdom Wednesday. And not only is it Wisdom Wednesday, this Wednesday marks a year since we started Wisdom Wednesdays, Miss Sylvia. We
Wow,
started
doesn't
it
seem
the
that long.
first Wednesday in February.
Hmm. Doesn't seem that long.
I know time has flown, man. It has flown. So I am so grateful to you, Queens, for being launching this and doing this. And then you done brought Mr. Van Dorn in. So I'm just gonna have to call him the king of Wisdom Wednesday.
That's right.
So greetings to you, Queen Sylvia.
Thank you. Thank you. Greetings to everybody in the audience.
Thank you, and greetings, King Mr. Van Dorn. Welcome to you both.
Delighted to be here. Delighted to be here. Thank you.
We are delighted to have you, and I'm excited about the conversation for tonight. So let me check in with you, lovely people tonight, our elders. How are you guys doing? Queen Sylvia, how are you this evening?
I am doing fantastically. Yes, I've enjoyed myself these past couple of days watching the monks walk for peace.
Oh, yes, I saw your daughter's pictures. Oh my God. So amazing. In fact, Maya got to see them when they came through Atlanta. So if I had known, I would have gone out there to see them, but they continually moving. I love that. I love that. Mr. Van Dorn, and Queen Sylvia, I gotta say I love your shirt. I love your shirt.
Oh,
I
this
love
this was this was a gift from Penelope when she went to Egypt this summer.
so what do I God always will have something on this show when you guys are here to confirm something I have said at some point throughout the day. And I just said to somebody today, know thyself is to know God, and it's on the temples in Egypt. I just said that a couple hours ago. So I'm like, wow, love it, love it, love it. Mr. Van Dorn, how are you, sir?
Very difficult to put in words. I am happy to be in the flow, and I'm ready to go. Here we go. Let's roll. Let's roll.
Okay, all right. I love it. I love it. I love it. And before we jump into the flow, Shelly, what's good with you, my man?
Same old thing, just working. So it doesn't change much. Working and trying to keep this child of mine close at hand. That's it. She just turned 25, so she's really like keep feeling herself in a good way. In a good way. So I just gotta keep my eye on her.
Well, it's gonna be hard to keep your eyes on a 25-year-old, Shelly. I'm gonna tell you that right now. They couldn't keep their eyes on you at 25 and probably
Right.
younger. So you
Yeah.
already know.
That's why I'm accepting it and just preparing for it. That's all. Just preparing.
Nice, nice. And everyone born in the month of February, I do want to wish you all happy birthday. Shout outs to the February babies. And of course, this is Aquarius season, which Shelly is an Aquarius, Maya is an Aquarius. So, hey, if there are any Aquarius in the chat, drop us a shout so we can shout you out. In fact, okay, now you know what? I wasn't gonna ask this question, but it just popped in my head. Like, Mr. Van Dorn, Miss Sylvia, aren't we in the age of Aquarius? Anything that you guys can say on that? Because I've heard that multiple times. Can either one of you talk to that? Pop quiz. Y'all weren't ready for that one.
I'm always ready. My answer is that there may be a miscalculation in this conversation about we're in the age of Aquarius. I want to say that, and I'm going to start there and I'm going to stop there. Okay, thank you.
So I guess I got to go do some more digging and some more research. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, one thing, if we're not in the age of Aquarius, one thing we are is in the month of February, which is Black History Month. And so we know that is celebrated every February in the United States and Canada, and it honors the crucial contributions in history of Black people. Founded by historian Carter G. Woodson as Negro History Week in 1926, it was officially recognized by the U.S. government in 1976. So the 2026 theme is a century of Black history commemorations. And so because it's Black History Month, I do want to share a little Black history fact that some may or may not know. I'm going to be honest, I did not know this particular one. Computer scientist Lisa, and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing her last name correctly, but it's Gelobter, Gelobter, however way you want to break that down. But she assisted with the 1995 creation of Shockwave, which is essential technology that led to the development of web animation. So we have her to thank for those little gifts that we see circulating in the world today. So I love the fact that a Black person contributed to that. And then I also want to acknowledge a couple of transitions, a couple of homegoings. I saw where rapper Snoop Doggy Dogg lost his granddaughter. And in Houston, the Houston hip hop pioneer and Swisher House founder Michael 5000 Watts, he has transitioned. And Lil Lamont Sanford from Sanford and Son, Damon Wilson, has transitioned. So to all the family, all the souls gone home, I say rest in power and our condolences to their families. And so our little food fact for today, this may be helping me on my journey because I have switched to a vegetarian lifestyle. But the fun food fact for today is it's National Stuffed Mushroom Day. And honestly, I've never been a fan of mushrooms. Still can't say I'm a fan. But since I have transitioned over, I'm having to eat them more. I just like them a little bit more crispy. You're like my chicken wings.
Yeah.
What'd you say,
So
Shelly?
there's so many ways to prepare them. You
Yeah.
know, there are ways to prepare mushrooms that you'll fall in love with them if you get them prepared the way that they want to be prepared for you personally. Yeah. So you have to experiment. Yes.
That's
So
what I was
many
gonna
ways.
say. You could cook them if you cook them and season them right. They'll be just fine.
And you know what? To that point, my son does, but he does. I can't say I do.
Right.
But again, they need to be crispy. I'm not a fan of that texture at all. I'm
You-
not a
Try
fan of
the,
the texture.
You got to
try
remember.
the oyster mushrooms, and batter them in fish batter and fry them like you're frying fish. They're really good.
They are. They are.
Yeah, they really are.
I think he said something about oyster. Okay, all
You
right.
got to remember, you transition to a whole new food genre. So your cooking skills, not skills, you're starting over. So just like when you first cooked, it took you a while to learn how to season your meat and your stuff how you like it. You just starting over. So give it a minute and enjoy and experiment with it. That's what I do. I just be playing with stuff and I force myself to eat it if it's nasty, but I just find something to cook it and be like, let me put this in and see what this tastes like.
I like that. I like that. So I guess, well, you know what? I'm not gonna do it without my son. My son gonna have to bring it to me because he's the chef. Like he's the chef. Okay, so moving along. I don't know if you guys know today is also National Hemp Day, which did you know that hemp has been a part of human civilization for thousands of years? The world's earliest civilizations used hemp fibers to make fabric for clothing and other materials. Even America's founding fathers drafted early documents on hemp paper, which I know I have heard that the earlier Bibles, were made out of hemp paper. So that was interesting. And so during the last century, leaders used a hemp for victory campaign during World War II to encourage farmers to grow hemp for military use. So since then, hemp has been an essential material in the innovation of several industries like the shipping, construction, and textile industries. And as a matter of fact, the construction industry started using hemp in place of concrete, known as hempcrete, which I never knew that term before, since it's windproof and offers a lower carbon footprint. And also, it is Rosa Parks' birthday. So salute the queen on her birthday. Okay, so the secret is nothing matters and only those who take advantage of others get ahead. Okay, somebody put that in the chat, but I'm not quite sure what that was. But thank you for your comment. Okay, so let me give you guys our mental health tip of the day, which is know this: our physical health is linked to our mental health. So find time to move your body in whatever way feels right for you. That could be dancing, that can be yoga, that can be walking. But the key to a healthy, go ahead, Mr. Van Doren.
I think we have that backwards. Our mental health is the cause of our physical health condition. Okay.
Okay.
It's backwards. And a lot of things are backwards, but our mental health, like our spiritual health, is first and foremost. Our mental and our physical health is dependent upon our spiritual health. And when we get that house activated in our drama, in our daily song and dance, all goes wonderfully well. So everything that we are told, for the most part, is backwards. You know, so our physical health is like it's the last thing that we need to be concerned with. We need to be concerned with our spiritual health so that our mental health will be straight. And when we have our spiritual health in order, then our mental health is secondary. It's everything's going to go just well, just lovely, and our physical health follows. That's the only way to talk about it. That's the only way to think about it. Thank you.
No. I love that because I agree. I agree 100%. I agree because, the mental health has even been linked to when you heal your, tap into your spirituality and heal your, raise your vibration, do your healing work and your mental work. Like illnesses have been cured and things of that nature because it's meant a lot of it. Go ahead.
Okay, so the presentation, ladies and gentlemen, that you all are getting ready to experience has everything to do with the subject of spiritual health, mental health, and physical health. We'll get there. Keep going, please.
Yeah. All right, well then let us go ahead and get to moving. Okay, so y'all know I just got to ask a question for the night, and then I'm gonna go ahead and let you take it away. And to spiritual and angelic encounters, hello, beautiful collective. Hello, beautiful soul. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We send you love and gratitude. Okay, so our question for the day in chat, feel free to drop an answer in the chat.
Okay, who was that? Who was that person?
It's at their name is their handle is spiritual and angelic encounters, but they don't give their whole name, their real name.
I thought it was somebody that I knew. That's all right. Keep going.
And it could be, but I love their name. And they added, like our spirits speak to our hearts speak to our minds, and our minds speak to your body. Makes perfect sense. Absolutely. Okay, all right. Let me go ahead and ask the question for tonight, and then we're gonna jump in, Mr. Van Doren. So, if you could teach the world one concept, what would it be? If you could teach the world one concept, what would it be? Chat, if you have an answer to that question, feel free to drop it. Oh, his name is Rick.
All right.
Mr. Van Doren, the person that was talking is Rick. Welcome, Rick. Thank you. We appreciate you. So, Rick, you can answer this question as well. If you could teach one world concept, what would it be? Anybody want to jump in and answer it? Go ahead, Mr. Van Doren.
I just put it in the chat. Breathe deeply now. Okay? Breathe deeply now. See, okay, so for those that don't know, the conundrum that human beings find themselves in, called fear, is a result of not breathing, not knowing how to breathe. And so what happens is that and some of you all know this by studying animal behavior, but a predator is it's required of a predator to in other words, for a predator to be successful, their prey has to go into a state of shock or trauma or shut down or lockdown. And if they know how to breathe, they can prevail under all kinds of assaults and what have you. To know how to breathe properly, you can ward somebody off by just knowing how to breathe. Okay, and when I say ward somebody off, I mean you have protection in your breath is your protection. There's more power in the breath than people know about, because everybody's been conditioned to believe something that isn't true. Your breath, your power is in your breath, okay? Your breath activates all of the systems that you have to prevail in any circumstance, under any circumstances. Can I get a witness?
And that's
Go ahead, Mr.
Can I get a witness? Can I get 2 witnesses? Can I
Oh,
get
we
2
agree.
witnesses? Okay, thank you. Okay.
I got a quick story to add, but go ahead, Miss Sylvia.
And that's one reason I tried to explain to a friend of mine, don't run when the dog starts to charge at you. Just stand there and breathe calmly, and the dog won't do anything. And this happened with a friend of mine. The dog ran out, and I was just acting like it was, how you doing? And the dog just stood all around me. But every time she got ready to move like that, the dog would get vicious. So I kept saying, just act like it's a friend of yours.
You know what? To that point, you're right. Because I remember I was walking down the stairs in my apartment complex, and this girl was walking her pit bull, and he wasn't on a leash. So when he saw me coming, he started running up the stairs, and some said, just be still. So, and I'm like, hey, dog. I said, I'm a friendly. And because I was like, I am not letting fear leave my body right now. I did, but now I'm give you another quick story. Is she working? She popping her head in and out. But Saturday, Maya and I went to an event, and everybody in Atlanta know it was literally the coldest day of the year, winter weather alert. But we went to support. Glad we did. However, had such a good time, I left my purse in the building. I get to my car. No keys, no purse, no nothing. So and the building was locked, and I panicked because of that. And literally we spent 15 minutes out there in the cold before she I think I have the event planner's number. Let me call her and get, see if we can get it. And at the time she did that, I think that calmed me down to look at my phone. And I looked at my phone, and I'm sitting there. I had an app on my phone that I could have opened the car the whole time and didn't have to stand out there in the elements. I panicked. So you're absolutely right. If I had breathed and calmed down, I would have been, at least we would have been out of the element. So I agree with that. Shelly, you want to answer that question?
No, it wasn't no answer. I was just gonna say with the breathing part that it's all like your vibration, and animals in nature, your vibration, you could feel it. And remember, I was saying that along with dating, when you meet people, you feel a certain way, your energy, or the saying, I don't like his vibe. That's your vibration, and your breathing determines all that. So it does send out a lot of signals, and et cetera, et cetera. So.
And you know what? And to even piggyback off of the men's conference, that's part of the reason I came up with that title, because we're telling men, okay, it's okay to pause and to breathe, because a lot of times the life gets the lifing and people don't take the moment to pause and breathe. So that's very important. So I want to read these few comments. And then Shelly, if you want to answer that question, I'll let you. And then Mr. Van Dorn, I'll turn it over to you. Okay, so the concept that spiritual and angelic encounters would share would be to make the unconscious conscious. That's the concept that they would share, and I like that. Gussie Young, morning is long, love is strong. That's what Gussie Young says. And then spiritual, we're gonna call him Rick. Rick says, I can see why I was guided here. That is what I shall do now, is breathe. Thank you, brother Star, beautiful Star brother, to you, sir. And then Scotty Guy, I am in agreement with Van Dorn on his spiritual views of health and breathing. Yes, 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 yes. We all are. Shelly, did you want to answer that question? You want to take a stab at it?
No, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember it detailed enough to answer it. So what was the question?
If you could teach one world concept,
that
what would it be?
Yes. I'm thinking of his answer. I have so much going on in what he said. But my one world concept would be understanding. I think if people took more time to understand other people and also understand that we don't always think alike, we don't have the same experience, perception is the biggest deception, then I know it'd be a lot better.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I think for me, if I were to answer that question, um, I would it would not be so much as a concept, but it would be a truth. I would teach universal law because I don't feel people know universal laws and know that it's always operating whether they are aware of it or not. So that would be a concept that I would share. So Gussie Young says fear has an ear, so does the heart. Be careful what your heart hears. Amen. All right, Mr. Van Dorn, I am getting ready to share your presentation. So I am going to pull this up now. All right, it's on you, sir. Just let me know when to go to the next slide.
All right. All right. I titled this A Prelude to an Awakening for reasons that will become obvious to us as we go. Next. This is a quote that just came to me today from a friend in Nigeria who is actually originally from Nigeria. He lives in Nigeria. He's been back in Nigeria for perhaps 15 or 20 years now. And so this, therefore, is mathematics. And I added geometry's beloved stepchild. She reminds you of the invisible forms of the soul. She gives life to her own discoveries. She awakens the mind and purifies the intellect. She brings to light our intrinsic ideas. She abolishes oblivion and ignorance, which are ours by birth. Now, I'm going to be echoing on this comment as we go through this presentation. That's from somebody from the past, somebody whose name is Proclus. At least that's my understanding as to how to pronounce this person's name from antiquity. But next slide, please. So one of the key issues that I have had in the process of witnessing what Westerners have done with geometry is watching how semicircles and arcs have been used as commentaries or as part of what my mentor called a palimpsest. And I won't get into what that is, but the circle represents wholeness. It represents the universe. It can be said to represent the universe. It can be said to represent the all that is. And a circle would be shorthand for what we conveniently call a sphere, S-H-S-P-H-E-R-E. So every time we see a circle, we can think of that as being shorthand for a sphere. So in sacred geometry, the line is considered to be the masculine element. The circle is considered to be the feminine element. So what happens in sacred geometry is a significant question that wants to be asked. Why do people make semicircles when semicircles do not represent wholeness? Now, I'm going to leave that alone, but I just wanted to throw that out as something to think about. I've been a poet all of my life, all of my adult life. This particular piece is titled Riddle of One. When I first created it, it was called God Riddle, but I changed the name to Riddle of One because so many intellectual types have a fear of what I call God talk. So instead of frightening the intellectual types with the word God, I changed it to Riddle of One. One, capital O-N-E, means the same thing as God or the all that is. And so the texts that you see here, they have sought me throughout the seasons of eternity with will and might ambitiously, as great as quakes and storms, far over the stars' horizons, they fling themselves in quest, rarely finding me wherein they rest. Those words are actually written into this composition. You can't see them with your naked eye on the screen, but those words are actually written into the composition, and they begin where the blue rectangle is. The blue rectangle represents a doorway. This is part of my portal series, my two-dimensional portal series. So So outside of the square, the rectangular door shape is a 6-pointed star, and it is enclosed inside of an 8-pointed star, and all of that is beneath the circle at the top. The circle at the top with the white lines. The white lines actually represent consciousness, illumination, illuminated thought, elevated thinking. And so you see around the 6-pointed star and around the 8-pointed star, these same rays. Every time you see a work of art of mine that you have these rays, it represents consciousness or illuminated thought or illuminated thinking. Next, please. This is a mandala that was drawn on the beach this past October the 8th. There was something called the Lion's Gate event that's known, in astrology, astrological circles, and astronomical circles also. So this pattern in the middle is called the seed of life. And I want to make a commentary on that because recently I saw this really, really wonderful film about Ubuntu. And so one of the ways that some of us talk about the term Ubuntu, which is it's a term that comes to us from Africa, is the statement in relation to Ubuntu is, I am because we are. So I thought about that statement and I realized that the seed of life, which is the heart of the flower of life, which is a pattern that has been experienced by humans for more thousands of years than we can possibly know. We do know that it is in Africa on the side of a temple, etched into it or burned into it, if I may, not carved into it. So, we would ask lots of people to go figure, how did this pattern get etched into this stone wall? It wasn't carved into it. And we have science that confirms this. Anyway, I'm digressing now. This pattern on the beach, we draw sometimes the seed of life and sometimes we draw the flower of life. And when I say we, my wife and I have been doing this for 10, 12, 15 years. I'm not so sure. This is something that happened on Riceville Beach this past October. Next slide, please. And here is 7 flower of life patterns in one. I titled this composition A Light from Circle Island. And I put reprise simply because it's a revisitation of an earlier idea. This is one of my favorite quotes. Inherent in every strand of DNA, in the subtle energies of a beating heart, in the star trail arms of the Milky Way, is pattern we have come to see and named it, we have geometry. So thank you. Once again, all of this writing is my writing. And those forms that you see suspended from the ceiling over those pedestals, those are 6 polyhedron. Some of them are regular platonic solids, like the second one from the left is an octahedron. The one in the middle is actually a hexahedron, which means a cube. The next one over on the far right is actually a rhombic dodecahedron, which is actually the most special sacred geometry form that exists in the vocabulary of geometry. We have gemstones. Some of the audience knows that gemstones actually are crystals that have configurations related to all of these forms that you see on this page here, okay? And so we won't be able to get into that into detail, but I was on a call recently, a Zoom call, where somebody mentioned the inner ear. We actually have gemstones throughout our body. We have gemstones. Our bones are structured a certain way. By the way, I do want to say this right now. There's this beautiful term. It's called carbon-60 molecule. I don't know how many people know about the carbon-60 molecule, but the carbon-60 molecule, which I didn't include in this presentation, is in every cell of every carbon-based life form, okay? Now, that's something to think about. In every carbon-based life form, in every cell is a carbon-60 molecule. And it's a spherical form made out of 60 carbon atoms in a very specific relationship to one another. And I have to apologize. It just didn't wasn't part of my thinking to include an image of the carbon-60 molecule. Next slide, please. And the composition on the right is an interesting composition. Some of you know the term vesica Pisces. Some of you know the term Venn diagram. So this could be considered a Venn diagram, but you actually have two vesica Pisces here, and you have two sets of circles that are color coded that give you two vesica Pisces. And for those that don't know what a vesica Pisces is, it's just the result of two circles that share a radius that are in relation to one another. And those circles want to be said to represent self and other, okay? So if you just have two circles on a picture plane, you can think of those two circles as representing yourself and another self. So that in itself is a way of talking about I am another yourself. So the geometry can be used to fashion a conversation about relationship, not just a relationship between atoms and cells and molecules, but a relationship between individuals or nations or groups and what have you. And the reason that the dragonfly is there is because this diagram on the right also represents bifold symmetry, which means two. What's on the left-hand side is on the right-hand side. So the dragonfly, what is on the left-hand side is on the right-hand side. And we know, looking at a human being, we are symmetrical also. We have bisymmetry on the outside, which means the left-hand side looks like the right-hand side, okay? So these are technical terms. Next, please. And so you have this half of a hickory nut that also almost resembles, the interior almost resembles a heart. And then on the right-hand side is a composition made of X number of circles. It has the seed of life in the center. The highlighted white circles are 7 circles that are the seed of life. And then what happens is you add more circles and you can actually create a composition like this. There is a teaching that I have had a relationship with since around the year 2000, and it's something called the right use of will. And I'm not going to go into that story, but these 4 hearts actually represent the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and their progeny, which means the father God, mother God, what's called heart son and heart daughter. Okay, so next, please. And here's a composition from 1990. Very interesting composition. There's writing in this composition, but I won't get into that. I don't know if I need to read this or not. Okay. I'll let the audience read this and someone to look at the image and someone to read what's on the screen. I'll say in the bottom triangle, the darker triangle of this composition are the words, the lower is not below the higher, no more than the higher be above the lower. They are the extreme distances that the strings upon the harp of life travel, something to that effect. There's a guy whose last name is Alston. He acquired this work of art in Atlanta, where he was living in 1990. Next, please. This is an interesting composition. We could say it's bilateral symmetry, but we could also say it's quadrilateral. I'm speaking this techno babble simply because we do have these terms that mean something to some people, right? So quadra 4. So what's in the upper left-hand corner is in the upper right-hand corner. What's in the same thing is in the lower left-hand corner and the lower right-hand corner. So you actually have a mirroring if you want to talk about the science of geometry. What's below the middle section is above the middle section. But there's a very special person in my life who is, I think she's about 84. Her name is Reverend Norma Edwards. And when she first saw this composition about 25 years ago, or close to that, she said, this reminds me of an angel that she encountered when she had a near-death experience. And of course, I could not tell her that I was trying to represent an angel here, because I wasn't trying to represent an angel. But people see what they see in whatever they're looking at. You know, we look in the clouds, we look into wood grain, we look into the river. running water, we see patterns because we're all pattern recognition beings. That's how the brain works. That's how the mind works. That's how the intellect works. So we don't have a choice but to be identified with patterns. But anyway, I'm doing all of this talking. Hopefully you all had a chance to read what was written here. We can go next. Yes. And so the slide before has sixfold symmetry above and below, and here's sixfold symmetry here, which means six directions from the center. And this is a lemon cucumber blossom. And the lemon cucumber blossom, like many blossoms in nature, will give you the number 5 and 6. One is masculine and one is feminine. And I apologize for not being able to tell you whether the 6 is a masculine or the 6 is a feminine, but this is a fact. This is a scientific fact, okay? That you have sixfold symmetry and fivefold symmetry simultaneously on the same plant. And one would be the, and so what makes this work in terms of nature is that you have animals, well, not animals, but insects, bees and other insects that pollinate this plant, so that you have this sharing of pollen between the feminine bud or the feminine flower and the masculine bud or the masculine flower. Okay, so here we have writing. This is from a poem that I wrote a long time ago. Once again, we go back to the breath. It is absolutely central to find your way to what I will call the breath. And when I say the breath that sustains life. When you learn how to breathe properly, fear has no place in your experience. Fear dissolves, it disappears as soon as we go into the breath. Okay? All right, the next slide. A hymn for the celestial ambient. Once again, I'm using poetry here, a hymn, which means a song for the celestial ambient. The word celestial ambient means the creator, okay, or the all that is, however you want to look at that. And so, once again, I write poetry. You can read the poem on the left-hand side. We'll give the audience a few moments. This is fourfold symmetry, and you also have eightfold symmetry. You have 8 sections by way of the blue highlighted circle around the central pattern. But all of those rays, all of those white rays, represent illuminated consciousness. So some people who are quick to recognize patterns would see that that's actually could be thought of as a representation of a cross in the center. Well, the vertical axis and the horizontal axis for me is where you have the divine feminine and the divine masculine that intersect. And where they do intersect, that's where the heart is. And I'll show you in a composition that's coming up exactly what I'm talking about. Can we go next? Next slide. And on the left-hand side, you have fivefold symmetry. I think those might be 2 halves of the same tomato. But when you cut a tomato open, you're going to get different patterns. You can get 3-ness, you can get 4-ness, you can get 5-ness, you can get 6-ness, and there are more numbers in tomatoes, but I'm not going to say that I see numbers larger than 6 too often, okay? So you have all of those numbers, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a tomato, and we don't have representations here, but if you cut the cross-section of a banana, you have threefold symmetry. You cut the cross-section of a watermelon, you have threefold symmetry. You cut the cross-section of a cucumber, you have threefold symmetry, and on and on. Everything that you have in nature has symmetry when you cut a cross-section of it. And so what sacred geometry does, it can serve as a reminder of the sacred in nature. And I'm going to use the word sacred because I don't have any choice but to use that word. Some people take issue with the word sacred, and I respect that. But I also suggest that that's none of my business, what people take issue with. I'm here to say that the word sacred has some meaning in the conversation, okay? Next slide, please. And so here we have fourfold symmetry again. So when we get to this slide, I want to ask everyone to think about the dogwood flower, the dogwood tree blossom. The dogwood tree blossom has 4 petals. So in nature, you have, when it comes to plants, you have 3 petals, 4 petals, 5 petals, 6 petals, and more. I do not have examples of all of these things, but I would just want us to pause for a moment and think about all of the symmetry that we see in nature when we look at it. You know, when we take the time out to look at an iris or name a plant. Can anyone name another plant that and name the number, the symmetry? You know, in terms of a flower blossom. Well, we have hibiscus. Okay, everybody knows hibiscus, right?
Mhm.
Hibiscus has 5-fold symmetry, 5 beautiful petals. Please name another pattern, please. Okay.
What is the 4-leaf clover?
Yes, the 4-leaf clover. Yes, hello.
Mhm.
Yes, and the 3-leaf clover.
Mhm.
Come on, Sister Sylvia. We were going to put you on the spot. Give us a plant. Give us a plant that you can, you know, see in your mind's eye that has some numbers to it. Anything.
Mine is the big one, and that's the sunflower.
Okay. Yeah, Anna Maria asked me, am I not going to put the sunflower in tonight? And I said, well, I don't have already. I have plenty of them, but I just didn't put one in. But yes, the sunflower is problematic, though, because it's very difficult to say how many petals there are on a sunflower plant. And we can't even talk about the number of rows. They use the word.
What about the tulip? Is that
tulip is it 3 or 6? You know, sometimes I think of tulips as being 3-fold symmetry. Sometimes I think of them as being 6-fold symmetry. Because they're dominant petals, and then they're subdominant petals. I don't know how to say this. Okay.
Well, what about a dandelion?
Oh, come on, stop. Who said that?
I did.
Oh. We have a trickster in the game here, a dandelion.
I mean, because I wanted to say rose, but I didn't think a rose would be a good one to say. So
no, listen. We stay away from the ones that we can't answer. We should stay away from them. Okay.
What about the buttercup?
Yeah, is that 5?
I think so.
That's 5. Is that true? Okay. Yeah, beautiful 5. Yeah, and there's another one. There are several yellow petaled flowers that have 5-fold symmetry. I can't think of the other ones. But anyway, this composition, this represents 4-fold symmetry. That's all done freehand. All of those dots and dashes are done with freehand. I did use a compass to sketch out some of the circles, but all of the dots are done freehand. Okay, so much for that. Let's go to the next one. Enunciation. Everybody probably has a relationship with that term, but when this composition came into existence in 1991, these were the words that were written into it. And so the square in the bottom, can you all see my cursor? Tammi, can you see my cursor on the screen?
No.
No, okay, that's all right. Well, anyway,
where you want me to point?
Center of the bottom of the composition.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
here.
Right there. Yeah. That's the square. That's square in the very center of that. Well, yeah, right there. There's writing in there, and the writing is on the left-hand side. Somewhat out of time, your voice is called back to me. When I say your voices, I'm talking about Creator. Okay, you insoluble infinity, echo of all refrains. Silence completes me. Stillness I am. We are one. So I'm actually talking to Creator. Some people say God. Some people say the all that is. Next slide, please. And this composition is actually the geometry in it is the very same as the one prior to this. And so what you see is an emphasis on 4-fold symmetry. And in this particular one titled Arc, the writing is in the bottom square again, in the very bottom square. It looks like a circle, but that circle is actually made out of words, not that one, but the larger one. Yes, the circle right. No, go down to the bottom. Yes, there's a circle inside of the red square at the bottom. Can you see the red square at the bottom of the composition? The smallest square in the bottom. Yes, the smallest square right there where you have your cursor. Those are actually words. It looks like a circle, but it's actually words. And it says, "We are dreaming, waiting to remember we are one." And what I'd like to suggest to everyone is that the term subliminal seduction wants to be brought to everyone's attention here. When I was a kid, I was about 16 or 17, I read a book titled Subliminal Seduction. Every human breathing has been under the influence of subliminal seduction since they were born, okay? And so subliminal seduction can either be used to the benefit of humankind or to the detriment of humankind. So there are a lot of power brokers in the world that use subliminal seduction to the detriment of humankind. And there are those of us that use it to the benefit of humankind. I contend that I'm using subliminal seduction to the benefit of humankind. So when people see these compositions, they can't even tell that they're looking at words in that circle at the bottom. The words are, we are dreaming, waiting to remember we are one. That is 100% pure and unadulterated subliminal seduction. And I will not apologize. Okay, I hope you all understand. I'm trying to have some fun with this. Okay. Yeah. Next, please. Yeah. Yes. Interesting composition. Yin yang. Everybody knows what yin yang means, right? The polarity in that's brought to us by way of what we conveniently call Asian thought on duality, the positive and negative forces, the polarized forces in nature. We can call them electrical, magnetic, but the blue and the red are color coding in this composition. The title is Anima Rising. Anima, or also anima, is a term that's used by Carl Jung in psychology, and it represents, I'm going to claim that it represents the divine feminine, okay? The term anima or anima. So you have the blue juxtaposed to the red. So where you have the blue, like the blue arrowhead pointing downward, on the inside of it you have red. On the red arrowhead pointing upward, in the inside of it you have blue. So you have the yin within the yang and the yang within the yin. It's just as in the typical yin yang pattern that we see, the one that most people are familiar with. Okay, next please. And these, the word LOVE can, in my estimation, can be considered code for light of voluntary evolution. Okay, so this is in a book that I wrote titled Love, Opera House of the Soul, a book of musings. And this is on whatever page. I'm not so sure what page this is on, but this is on one of the pages. Yes, next. Another freehand drawing. This time I'm sort of suggesting what some of us know as the Sankofa symbol out of the Akan, the body of symbols that are considered to be from the Akan people from ancient Ghana. And so if you look at it across the diagonal from one corner to another corner, you'll see the Sankofa symbol there. And also, if you look carefully, you will see it on the vertical axis. You'll see reference to the Sankofa symbol. So that's all I'll say about this. Once again, freehand drawing, dots and dashes. Yes?
It's beautiful.
Also, on the left, fear serves. I love this particular statement. Fear, false evidence appearing real, serves to challenge. Gosh, it's fascinating. I have what do you call these? A typographical error. How fascinating. Fear serves to challenge one to return attention to one's origins. And when I say origins, that means one's sacred center. Some names for this sacred center or sacred state of awareness are source, origin, home, God, essence, or higher self. So, and I don't know if that makes sense to everyone in the audience, but I really hope that it does. Because once again, when we figure out how to relate to stimulus properly, we basically say, say, stand down. You have no place in my life. There are many ways of saying it. There's a quote from the Judeo-Christian Bible that I translate to being related to this FEAR thing, false evidence appearing real. Now, I don't have to be right about this because this is just my personal interpretation of the statement that is attributed to Yeshua, where he says, Satan, get thee behind me. You know, Tammi, you can talk about this because you have a more direct relationship to the Judeo Judeo-Christian tradition. But my interpretation of that statement was basically, Yeshua was saying, you have no business here. You know, get lost. You know, poof. You know, spam. I mean, not spam, but bam, spam, bam, get away. You know what I mean? Now, what is your interpretation of that phrase when Yeshua is said to have said, "Satan, get thee behind me"?
I mean, pretty much the same thing. He's
Okay.
saying you have no power, no dominion. So
Yeah, yeah,
I'm choosing to block you,
yeah,
ignore
right, right.
you. So remove
Ignore you,
yourself
right?
from my
Yeah,
presence.
yeah. If you give no attention, you give no power, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. That's the trick. Yeah, to know how to conserve our attention or to manage our attention to our benefit and to the benefit of others.
Okay,
That's
so Mr. Van Dorn, just because you talking about that one word, and we know that we're in a time where they're fear mongering. They're like using that to control. Like, it's like how do you kind of help people to understand? Like, the
you have
fear
to talk.
is
You have to cut no chasers. You have to be straight. You have to say, if you want to remain terrorized, go right ahead. If you
mm,
want freedom and liberation, get into your breath first and foremost. Just breathe with me. You know, stand there with them. Say, breathe with me. This is where your power is. This is where your clarity is. This is where your divinity is. It's in your breath. We have no time to waste. If the people that can't get with the program, let them go. Let them be. There are people that are looking for us. Okay.
mm, I
And
like
watch
that.
this. Here's where the kingdom is. I'm speaking about the kingdom and from the kingdom. It is the breath. I'm telling you, there's no way around it. When you learn how to breathe, you are deeply and intimately connected to the Most High. Okay. And there can be no separation unless you create that. Now, I don't have to ask for a witness. Everybody's a witness. Let's keep rolling. Okay.
Love it, love it.
Yeah. Thank
You
you.
you telling the truth though.
Yeah. Okay. This is the one that I wanted to talk to you about because here's fourfold symmetry. But what's beautiful about this composition is when you look at the very center, you see the color green. So without getting into a real deep technical analysis here, this composition actually represents a number of things. Uh, but each one of these spirals that you see weaving towards the center and is actually a golden spiral or golden rectangle and a golden spiral inside of a golden rectangle. We don't need to get into that technical talk or that techno babble, that sacred geometry techno babble. But this green is where those of us who have some sense of identification with the 7 chakra system that's talked about in some circles, the green is where the heart is. That's the heart chakra is the green, the color green. And so there's a lot that I could say about this, but yeah, you can find a lot of peace and solace in looking at the color green, surrounding yourself with the color green. And so what happens when you go out into nature and you bathe in that beautiful ocean of greenery? You feel good, okay? Yeah, you find your way back to a place of centeredness or I'll say connection with the sacred in nature. Yes. Next, please.
Nice.
This is a funny composition. Can everybody see that purple circle, that purple ring? Okay. The purple is a synthesis of the color blue and the color red. So what you actually have are 6 circles that are blue and 6 circles that are red. And to be playful, me being playful with the condition that we have in the United States is we have these 2 major parties, these 2 major political parties that are said to be polarized, one with the color blue and one with the color, oh gosh, what happened? Okay, one with the color blue and one with the color red. So I'm saying that the synthesis of the color blue and the color red is purple. So one of my playful ways of dancing around the insanity in politics is to say that I am a leader in the Purple People's Party. Okay, the purple people's part is a synthesis of this polarity, where you neutralize the polarity and you recognize your so-called opponent's divinity and sacrality, if I may, and say, let's neutralize this silly war that we are caught up in, and let's find our way to our heart, and let's do a Marvin Gaye, let's get it on, so anyway, love is a river, I am water, I am. That's a quote. That's my response to an old Sufi saying, which is, love is a fire, I am wood. And next.
And let me ask you this, since you mentioned chakras earlier, isn't the crown chakra purple?
Well, actually, it's indigo.
Indigo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Purple,
okay.
Yeah, I think purple or violet is the third eye. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have the
third eye. Okay, that's what it was. Okay. Okay.
No, wait a minute. Indigo, violet. No, I have it wrong. Yeah, the indigo is the third eye, and then the violet is the crown chakra. Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Violet. Yeah, you got it right. You nailed it.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Moving on.
So the image in the background. Go to the next screen. Yes. The next image. That is the image without the text. Okay. So that image was actually created. My ancestors, or our ancestors, gave me a printmaking technique. This is actually a no-tech printmaking technique. Every pattern that you see on the page is actually from a vegetable stamp, something that grows in nature. And without going into detail, we have walnut halves, we have star fruit, we have the base of a celery stalk, we have cross sections of certain kinds of peppers, cross sections of okra, we have cross sections of hickory nuts, and all of the circles that you see on there are actually from acorn caps. So you take an acorn cap, you dip it in your paint, and then you dip it onto the page. That's tenfold symmetry, meaning that there's 10 stations. Okay, you can see that in the 10 blue stars pointing towards the center. Mm-hmm. So I started teaching this. Let's say a long time ago. I'm lost in time, but I started teaching this a long time ago in Greensboro when I was living in Greensboro. Then I moved to Durham and I taught it for 3 years at continuing ed for Duke University's Osher Lifelong Learning Center. So let's go back to the previous slide. Thank you. And then the text is just an overlay. I did that in Photoshop. But let's keep rolling. Okay, let's go past these two. And then this is a 14 circles. That's only 14 circles. And I have a dear friend who actually owns this composition, who lives up in Massachusetts. And this was a gift, probably a birthday gift, I'm not so sure. But I said 14. Am I wrong? It might be 21. Just give me a second.
I was going to say, that looked like a lot more than 14.
6, 7, it's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's just 14 circles. That's all it is.
Wow.
14 circles with a bunch of dots. Now, if you don't count the dot in the very center, then the other dots are 21 dots. I think. I could be wrong. Listen, let's not quote me on that. Let's just say that the number 14 means something to me. It's half of a 28-day cycle, a full moon cycle. Okay, so in a manner of speaking, this composition could be said to represent 1/2 of a full moon cycle, which would be 2 7-day cycles. Okay, 7 and 7 to 14. But this is how I play with numbers in regards to geometry. Okay, so for me, geometric patterns are the foundation for exploring the phenomenon of number. And some people have it the other way, where they take number and they find their way to geometry. For me, I begin with geometry and then I find my way to the phenomenon of number, and I have a lot of fun. But anyway, let's keep going. Let's roll to the next one. This composition titled "Before We Knew from the Mother of Everything." So the the largest circle actually represents, it can represent the womb, it can represent all of creation, all that is possible to know, as in the so-called universe can be thought of as a gigantic sphere. And once again, we are just talking about metaphor here, not absolutes. And the text is me playing with words. I am truly dreaming, the one heart dreaming, truly am I. And I call that a word form. It's a way of working with words where you have a mirror. So everything on the upper half is also on the lower half. And I call them word forms. But anyway, this composition is a very special composition. You have, once again, red and blue representing the divine masculine, the divine feminine. And yeah, there are stories that can be told about these compositions, but I'll simply say that I'm having a lot of fun providing viewers with interesting compositions for them to study and to explore and to make up stories as they go, because this is what happens when you look at patterns. Your mind starts to work and it becomes activated. Okay. And let me say this about the study of sacred geometry. It is known in some circles that the study of sacred geometry assists individuals in moving towards critical thinking and clear thinking. First, we have to have clear thinking before we can have critical thinking. Okay. So, two shortcuts to clear thinking and critical thinking is to work with the geometry. It actually has an effect upon the brain, and the neurotransmitters get wired differently. Thought pathways open up in one's psyche by studying geometry. Now, you can actually have the experience just by looking at the patterns, but if you take and have a hands-on experience, it becomes a whole body experience where your soul and your mind become intimately engaged in an exploration of meaning, if I may. And then you have insights and revelations that take place as a result of having this experience. So that's a sales pitch. I'm not trying to teach anybody anything today or tomorrow, but go take a class. Hello, Sister Sylvia.
When you talk about the effect of the eyes when looking at the sacred geometry, the eyes connected to the brain is what part that heals the body. It takes me back to the time when you were in my home and the young man's hand was healed. Just looking at all of the presentations you had there.
Okay, so Sister Sylvia has exposed me as a practitioner. We won't say a practitioner of what, but as a practitioner, okay? So I've had a number of experiences that sometimes get me choked up thinking about them. There is a person, a healthcare professional here in Durham, who told me years ago that she saw a composition of mine, which I actually showed earlier tonight. It was the third slide, I believe. She saw that composition on her computer screen, and she told me that she had a complete spontaneous healing in her left shoulder. And I mean, who am I to say that she's not telling the truth? I mean, I have no reason to not believe her. It's just like the young man that Sister Sylvia is talking about. I have no reason to not believe him. He has no reason to tell a lie. So I have other cases where, like in 1993, I had a solo exhibition in Atlanta. One of the images that we saw earlier is titled Annunciation. It was in the front gallery. At the end of the reception, a woman who was in the back of the room when I gave a slide presentation, she said at the very end, she says to myself and the audience, when I saw that composition in the front room, are we still here? Uh-oh. Yeah, okay, we're still here. Yes, y'all disappeared for a second. She said, when I saw that composition in the front gallery, I was immediately transferred back to when, in memory, to back when she was coming through the birth canal. So when she said that, I had to hold my tears back. I got choked up. I was so choked up, I didn't know what to say, because I know that these kinds of experiences are available to viewers of this work. Okay, I'm sitting in a room full of high magic, if I may. Okay, the things around me, we're not going to show them, but I'll just be playful and say this: those who are familiar with,
He said he has some.
familiar with the first Fantasia that came out decades ago, Mickey Mouse was called the he was the Sorcerer's Apprentice. Sometimes I think of myself as being the Sorcerer's Apprentice, and I have to say, oh gosh, I hope I don't do any havoc wreaking in my enthusiasm for sharing what I'm sharing. So I want everyone to know that you all have disappeared. I only see the image on the screen. Can we go to the next image?
We can still hear you.
Okay, can we go to the next image? Okay. Okay, the next image, right. Amazing composition here, titled Language. Can't talk about it. I can just simply state it. You see the central spherical form. You see the larger spherical form outside of it, and then you see all of the radiating lines on the outside. This is a very complex composition, but to draw this requires a tremendous amount of concentration. When a person is engaged with this geometry, it's like a meditation, and it's also can be experienced as something that's called mindful meditation. So I would invite any and everybody to find a compass and a straight edge and just start drawing the seed of life, and see if you can get to the flower of life from the seed of life. Honestly, something wonderful will happen. I can't say what that is because everybody's unique. Everybody's at a different station in their evolution. But can we go to the next one? This is a very special composition, because if you can see that, Tammi, can you point out that semicircle that arcs down through the word love? Can you just put your cursor on that semicircle? Yeah, just trace that semicircle that arcs through the across the top of the word love. It goes from it's right, from the left side to the right hand side of the composition. That's one of three circles. There are only three circles that are on this page, okay? And those three circles makes it possible to draw all of those lines. What I'm getting at is this. Can you see reference to the three circles?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there were only three circles. Those three circles enables a practitioner to draw all of those lines on the page, just three circles, okay? So think about what a circle represents. For me, it represents the divine feminine. So if the men know how to listen to the women, all will go well in the world. But I love this writing, and this is poetry. But in the great astrolabe of consciousness, it is agreed upon that all spheres share the same circle. Some have named this center love. So what I'm attempting to say is that when you are in right place, your sacred center, your heart, is in alignment with your neighbor's heart and your neighbor's heart. And this is where we have the power to transform the world through the heart energy. You all know the rest of the story. Yeah, surrender to love, right? Okay, can we go to the next composition?
I know, but can you say it again for the people in the back? What did you say? If women ruled the world, it'd be the divine feminine rule?
No, I didn't say anything about ruling.
The divine feminine, the divine.
If men knew how to listen to women, and I might even want to qualify this, and this is a strong statement to make. I'll just stop there. I won't qualify what I'm saying.
Conscious women.
Okay, yeah. If men knew how to listen to conscious women, thank you, all would go well in the world. And so there's some of us that know something about what are called the tribes on this continent, the ancient tribes on this continent, it is known by some that the elders, the men elders would go to the women elders and ask them, must we go to war? And they would have to be given permission by the women elders to go to war, because, and I won't even get into any, because those who have some access to deep thought understand that equation. Let's move forward, please.
Ooh, okay, you about to get me started, but
you can go ahead. Anyway,
no,
this is the composition. This is the composition without the words on top of it. This composition title, I gave it Fractal Brain because of a friend of mine. It was originally the title something else. There's a mathematician whose last name is Koch. This is basically a Koch crystal. Okay, Koch, once again, is a mathematician from the past who figured out a formula for taking an equilateral triangle and dividing each side of the equilateral triangle into 3 equal parts. And then you take the 2 outermost points of that line and you flip them so that they make a point on the side of the triangle. That gives you a 6-pointed star. So this is actually a very complex 6-pointed star, which is in essence a fractal, because a fractal simply means a pattern that is self-replicating to scale, which means that the smallest 6-pointed star on the inside is related to the 6-pointed star that's larger than it, and it's the one that's larger than it. But we're not going to get into any kind of critical analysis of this. May we go to the next slide, please? Here we go. We have 6-fold symmetry again. And on the right-hand side is another one of those mandalas made out of vegetation stamps from nature. And then on the left-hand side is a mandala, a drawing. I always have everything I need. That is a mantra. And for those who don't know what the word mantra means, it simply means a statement that has meaning, that is elevating and centering. There are other variations on that theme. Yeah. When one's consciousness becomes like a mandala, illusions of separation tend to disappear. That is a true statement. And so, once again, find your way to your breath. When you find your way to your breath, you have found your way to the breath. And when you find your way to the breath, there's no place to go. Okay, you have landed at home. That's home. That's another poetic and metaphoric way of talking about God. Okay. Yeah.
I'm glad you said it, because that's what I wanted you to hear, because that's where what people fail to realize, that when we came here, we came to forget that we are part of God. But I feel we're all on journeys to remove that illusion and take us back home to God. But the way that the world and society and everything and the leaders and all that, they're doing a really good job at keeping people from remembering. And it's really important that people remember who they are.
And the job that they're using to do that is the lover.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, but you said leaders. You meant fake leaders. You meant false leaders. You left out some critical words there. Not leaders. They're not leaders.
Oh well, yeah.
But let's call a spade a spade. Fake leaders, false leaders. Yeah. The word leader is an elevated title. There's nothing elevated about their position, unless you want to think of them as petty tyrants. And we can talk about petty tyrants. I would venture that anyone can go into cyberspace and look up the term petty tyrant, look up the Yaqui Indian sorcerer's story from a book called The Fire from Within, and just go to chapter, it's either chapter 2 or 4. It's called the petty tyrant. It's in a book called The Fire from Within. It's a very serious dissertation, if I may, on claiming one's power. Okay. A petty tyrant has a very specific purpose in our lives, to challenge us to own our power. End of story. End of story. I mean,
say that again. No. That was powerful. Say that again. They challenge us to
own our power. In other
Oh
words,
my
they're
God.
like the drill sergeant. You know, if you go into the military, you have a drill sergeant. You don't get any slack cut. You understand? They work you. You have to build some muscle. You understand?
Yeah.
So the petty tyrant challenges us to build some spiritual muscle, which we need in order to become
Wow.
Who we are. Who we are.
I
yeah,
love
right,
The
who we
God,
really
the
are.
God.
Right.
Okay, y'all. I apologize because like I love that the however the reality that many are creating in that challenge to owning one's power is they're getting caught up in the victim mindset or the mindset less than, and again not remembering who they are. So but everything really is happening that's really sending people to go back to who they are, which is the
It's
God
not.
source creator.
No. You left something critical out. Oh, yes, Dr. Meyer. We're gonna get. They choose. You said they choose. We're all first cause. They choose. They give their power away. Let's go. Dr. Meyer, say it.
And that, to me, they're giving their power away to religion.
Thank you. That's right.
Yes.
To
So,
anything outside of themselves.
Themselves.
You know, I can't say what I want to say because this wants to be clean. You know what I mean? But that giving your power away, there's some Richard Pryor that could be said right now about what happens when you give your power away. But we're gonna leave that alone because we're not gonna go Richard Pryor tonight, okay? Or Dick Gregory.
Oh my God, you're gonna have to tell me behind the scenes. I'm sure the audience would want to know, but we don't want to offend anybody. But I am so curious to hear what you would have to say.
Yeah. Well, look, watch this. Okay. Greg Brayton put this before humankind a couple of decades ago. He says the conundrum looks like this. You either gave your power away, it was stolen from you, or you lost it. Okay? You either gave your power away, it was stolen from you, or you lost it. It doesn't matter which one. If you don't have your power, if you're not accessing your power, if you're not standing inside of your power, you lost it, you gave it away, or it was stolen. It doesn't matter. Point is if you're powerless, that's a choice that you make also. But we have to help people realize that everything that they're experiencing is a choice. It was spoken earlier. Sister Sylvia mentioned this earlier tonight. She didn't use the word first cause, but that's what she meant. We're all first cause. Okay, my battery, I have to turn. Let me see now.
question.
Yes.
And it's three questions that I wrote down. Why did ancient civilizations seem to understand this more intuitively than we do now, modern time? And do you think this knowledge was forgotten, hidden, or just simply ignored? Or was it because they brought religion into it? And then why is it resurfacing again now?
Yes.
Good question.
Okay. Oh, keep going.
That's it. Those were it.
Hold on for a minute. My battery is
okay.
While he's fixing his battery, it's been hidden. It's coming back now because we're in the golden age where all of this stuff is going to come back.
Okay.
Watch this. Sister Sylvia, I'm going to paraphrase that. We're in the age of remembering. And let me tell you what I mean by that. Remembering means put back together, okay? To remember. The dismemberment that's talked about in the Osiris teachings, that remembering means we are having this which was lost, or dismembered, if I may, put back together. So when it happens in us, it will happen in others.
Okay.
And so what we owe to ourselves is to reclaim our divinity, become reconfigured the way we were designed to vibrate, if I may use that term, so that we end up being examples to others. But we don't have to do anything. We just walk wherever you go. If you're vibrating at a high frequency, it's like the rest is it happens on its own. Yeah.
So how does it show up, sacred geometry show up in the human body?
Show up in the human body.
Yes.
Well, if you see with this single eye, okay, these two eyes are not going to tell you much of anything, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The single eye makes it possible to see the subtle energetic signatures of every, what we call energy center, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The 7 major chakras are just that, they're major chakras, but they're minor chakras, okay? There's so much that can be said in response to that question. Many people have different experiences. My wife has amazing experiences. She talked about some stuff that she had going on in some meditation this morning. And all I can say is, wow, you know, she's having these amazing experiences where she can talk about these this phenomenon. And I'm over here in dreamland having really amazing experiences. But one of the stories, and this is a way off subject, but
That's okay.
I'm busy processing 24/7. I don't get any rest when I go to bed. When I go to sleep, I'm as active in the dream state, if not more, than I am in this dimension. Okay, so I really am running like 24/7. So I'm crazy busy in this dimension and in the what we call the invisible worlds, the dream worlds. But to answer your question, I don't know if I can answer your question. Can anyone answer this question that Dr. Maya raised?
Say the question again, Maya.
How does sacred geometry show up in the human body? So let me follow up with this one. Can certain shapes support emotional or energetic healing?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so our kin, I'm gonna call them the Tibetan monks. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
in the ancient Tibetan teachings, all of the answers that you could ever raise exist. Okay, yantras. A yantra is a two-dimensional pattern that's related to a sacred sound. Okay, so what I tell people sometimes is that I'm creating yantras. The geometry that I'm working with, I'm creating yantras. And one of the stories that I tell is that if you look at my work and it has an effect upon you, you're experiencing a two-dimensional pattern that has a three-dimensional corollary, if I may. Okay. And that three-dimensional corollary has an energetic field just like we have around us. We talk about our auric fields, okay? Our auric fields being our energy envelope or our energy sphere in the Yaki Indian sorcery tradition is called the luminous egg. Okay, whether you call it the luminous egg or whether you call it the there are many names for it. Everything is vibration. All of us have an energy field. You can't see it with your physical eyes, but the third eye, when it's open properly, can see these energy fields. And so some people do see them. This brother is wrong.
Are you talking about the quantum field? Are you talking about the quantum field?
Well, no, everything is in the quantum field. Okay, everything is in the quantum field. We're all particles of awareness in the quantum field. What happens is I'm wringing my hands here because we're trying to go really deep here, and it's very difficult to go deep here. Boy, it's really difficult to go deep here. We need a whole show that addresses this, Dr. Maya. But I did attempt to speak to it by saying that we don't see these things with our physical eyes generally, and a lot of people actually can see them with their physical eyes, but it's because of the fact that the spiritual eye is open enough that sometimes we see things that we think that we're seeing them with our physical eyes, but we're really seeing them with our third eye. Okay.
So how does a person open up their third eye?
You can do it by breathing properly, pranayama breath work, pranayama, yoga, breathing certain ways, mantras, chanting mantras. I would say
Can
specific.
frequencies help too? Because I know like there's YouTube, no frequencies
Everything,
don't help.
no. Everything is frequency. Everything is
Well,
frequency. Yeah, I know, but you mean special frequencies, specific frequencies. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, right, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
So the thing, what we have to learn is that every thought and every feeling has its own unique frequency. Everything is frequency. Everything is vibration. What we have to do is to remember that we are vibrational beings. We're energetic beings that are vibrating at various frequencies because of the choices that we're making in the moment. You know, you can change your frequency really fast by knowing how to change your thought and your feeling, right? You can go from blue to ecstatic in no time if you know how to shift. Okay? Yes, please.
A good example of keeping society in a low frequency is watching the news. That's always making you anxious, always making you fearful. That's an example of a low vibration.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you, like you say, like the monks say, we should say every day, I'm making this a day of peace. Every day, this is a day of peace. You're raising your frequency.
And raising everybody else's frequency.
Yes.
Yeah. We cannot raise our frequencies without having an impact upon everyone.
Because we're electromagnetic.
And we don't exist in a vacuum. You know, we are not islands. We speak poetically and metaphorically here. We raise our vibrations, and everybody's vibrations is going to raise. We can't determine how much their vibration raises, but if we raise our vibrations, it is guaranteed that everybody's vibration is going to be raised. So I'm not going to get into. Yes, please go ahead, Dr. Hyde.
Two questions. The first one is, so you did speak on how people would see your artwork and that they were transformed or healed through your artwork. Have you personally witnessed transformation through working with your forms? And then second question would be, why is it in Christian religion when you speak of your vibrations and the different forms that they view it as witchcraft?
Programming. It's called programming. Mm-hmm. They have allowed themselves, they have chosen to be duped by some clever manipulators that want to keep them in lockdown. None of my business.
Which they are practicing witchcraft, because that's still a form of witchcraft through manipulation.
It's their choice. That's none of my business. Mm-hmm. I have one job and one job only: raise my vibrations so other people's vibrations can be raised. Leave those people to what they're doing, because God's boomerang works. I'm speaking poetically and more metaphorically right here. So imagine this. You know, okay, we're getting ready to go deep again. What you send out is going to come back to you. Mm-hmm. Now, you can modify that, but you got to be really quick on your feet to be able to modify what you send out that is of a destructive nature. Also, but that's another story. Mm-hmm. But because listen, I am not immune to terror. Okay, I am neither immune to terror. I am not immune to fear. I am not immune to what some people would call negative thoughts. Mm-hmm. I know how the game works, so I can go low and go high real fast. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I don't get stuck in low. Mm-hmm. I don't get stuck in low gear or negative thoughts. Okay. You know, I can be playful right here and say my wife won't allow that. Mm-hmm. And there's some truth to that also. But anyway, you know, we have to realize that we're first cause. Everywhere I go that I get a chance, I talk about the notion of first cause. All of these people that are out here manipulating and in other words, manipulating other people's consciousness, that's between them. That's a pact that they've made. Let them be. Let them have that experience. Be busy about raising your vibrations. Don't worry about who gets touched. That's none of our business. If you are radiating at a high vibratory frequency, that's all that matters. You don't direct that. You know what I'm saying? You don't direct that. You don't direct that. That's a high frequency. Okay. It touches those who want to and need to be touched. Nothing else matters. Mind our business. Mm-hmm. In the beautiful French story called Candide, at the end, Pangloss, who is the teacher of Candide, says, in the end, we must cultivate our gardens. What that means to me and what that means to some others is that when you mind your own business, when you really do tend to your garden, mm-hmm. all will go well in the world because you're doing right by yourself. Not by yourself, but for yourself. If you do right for yourself, you can't help but touch other people's lives. Mm-hmm. We're all tele-energetic beings. We're all connected tele-energetically. Telepathy works 24/7. Do the right thing in your head and your heart. Mm-hmm. All will go well. Yeah, we're not here to worry about what's happening. We're here to rise above that stuff and give it no attention. The more attention you give, what Sister Sylvia mentioned earlier, the news, the more attention you give to that, it's possible the more you get sucked into it.
I don't even look at the news. I haven't looked at the news probably in like 10 years.
Well, you know different, or you know better, however you want to look at it.
Listen, I hate the fact that it pops up on my computer, just turning my computer on, and it just go from story to story. Like you have to throw something up real quick.
And they're never good stories. They're never good stories either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mr. Van Doren, okay, let me ask this question, because you going back to what you said about meditation. Now, I have been meditating for a while, but I can't even lie. Like lately, like when I meditate, I can't quiet my mind. And
Yes, you can.
Okay, yeah. Let me correct that.
You haven't found the right technique. Okay. You can quiet your mind quickly. You find the right technique. Your mind doesn't have dominion any longer. Okay.
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 Can you suggest some techniques? Because when I tell you, like, music play in my head, like the last song that I listened to a whole day before a song, it just whether it's ratchet, whether it's whatever, it's all playing in my head.
Watch this. Let me share something with you. Listen, I'm about to be 73 years in this game. Okay. And I have been using mantras for longer than I can remember, okay, when I was a young man. So if you can find the right sounds to generate, that will fill all of the space in your psyche that this noise takes up. If I'm making any sense now. In other words, all of the noise in your mind gets dissolved or dissipates in the presence of sacred sounds. I'm gonna make a strong statement here. I'm gonna say your salvation is in the sound. Okay, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and with God. What is the Word? The Word is sound. Okay, sound. Find your way to the right sounds, and I'm not gonna say use them. Let them use you. Okay. I'm flipping this. Okay, let them use you.
Okay.
I'm saying this to you. Listen to this. I'm saying this to you right now, and I am chanting on the inner planes. Okay. Okay.
So like maybe like find something on YouTube or some kind of music or because I started with guided meditation. I did start with guided meditation, but I branched off. But lately, like I said, like my mind just.
I want to say something.
Please.
Well, I want to say a lot, y'all. We done covered a whole lot. I just want to start with saying that. I hope I don't forget my thought. But going back to when mine was like geometry and ourselves, you see that through healing. Your healing is the number one form of geometry inside yourself, and all that comes from vibration. And vibration is also coming from your breathing, et cetera, et cetera. But one thing that I know they should start telling people, they need to let people know that you can only achieve these certain levels based off one, what's in you, your diet, what you allow your two eyes to see. If none of that is correct, or in layman's term healthy, you won't be able to even sit down long enough to concentrate or vibrate on a high enough level to clear your mind, to heal, to do any of that. So those are the first steps. And people who always, like, kind of how you were saying, how when you start to meditate, your mind goes everywhere. We only see what we look at, and our reality. Just going back to what he said, I'm gonna be all over the place. How you have to work on yourself and do you first, because we all live on one plane, but we all have different realities. Everyone sees something different.
Yeah.
So if you're focusing on yourself and the God in you, you won't even see what's going on outside of you. All the drama, the news, it could be on all that, but if you're not on that frequency, you literally won't know what's going on because you're not vibing on that level.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it all begins in your diet, and that's why, and I'm gonna use these three names, from Hitler to Putin to low key. Their whole thing is diet, get everything out of our food, get everything out of our air, get back into the book of yourself, not the Bible. And you could achieve all that, but without all that, you'll be, as the Bible says, the sheep, and you'll go with the flock. So you have to practice on you and only focus on you, and that'll determine what you see, and that'll determine how well you heal, etc., etc., etc. But that's kind of where it begins, and religion and all that was devised to keep us from that, because we did that ourselves as a people. And I don't like when I use the word witchcraft, because witchcraft wasn't bad. Witchcraft is good. That's what our people use to keep us meditated and focused on us, or us inside, not nothing going on outside the world or none of that, because we all live in our own world. And that determines.
Religion made it.
And I wish we could have touched on each of them, because I have so much on each of them, but that's my briefing real quick.
No, but that was good, Shelley, and it's interesting that you did say witchcraft was good, because it really was. It's only it goes back to that control factor that a lot of the people in charge try to have over the people, to have dominion over everybody else, but that's how Haiti
Eat the French and so forth. But they'll never have dominion over everyone. They only want dominion over those who are on their level.
Mm-hmm.
And basically those who make the choice to give their power to them. Right.
We might chime in on the subject, but nothing they do affects us. That's not our business. That ain't got nothing to do with us. So like he said, we got to mind our own business, and none of that don't even affect us. None of have stuff that goes on with your neighbor, with any of that, even if you're looking at him, you don't like his yard or whatever, that has no effect on your life. It's only what you see that affects you.
Okay, you know what? That is so good, because let me tell y'all, I think I'm so disconnected in a sense from this world, that, and also too, I'm focused on a lot of other stuff. Look, my business, that it's like, when people bring certain things to me, I be like, oh, really? Didn't know, because it's no value. I'm focused on, building, my vibration, doing what I'm supposed to do, the work that I'm here to do. So I like everything that you guys are saying, because when you focus on this world and these things, what does it say? Do not be entangled in the cares of this world. And a lot of people get so entangled in them that they find themselves remaining in low vibration. So that's good. I think that's if it's okay, that's a good way for us to start bringing this in. And Mr. Van Dorn, when you were going through your slides, Scott in the chat put, "You got me going in circles." I love it. Thank you. That was some good stuff. That was some good stuff. I apologize that we didn't get through all the slides, but we'll have to finish them up another time, because this was a good dialogue that ensued afterwards. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this in. Very, very, very informative session. And I will start with my man Shelly. Shelly, you waited to the end to say everything, so I'm gonna just go ahead and let you lead us out with your final thoughts and let the people. Oh, before you do that, Miss Sylvia and maybe Mr. Van Dorn, I did have a question. It just popped in my head. I don't want to forget this. Miss Sylvia, you a while back explained like the difference between a flat roof and a roof with a steeple and the energies associated. And I figured this talk tonight was a good time to ask the question. Can you help me explain that? Because I tried to explain it to somebody, but I had a hard time. Can you refresh our memory on that? About like the energies associated with a flat rooftop on the house versus the pointed rooftops?
I'm going to try to make this very short, giving it by example. If you notice all of the Native Americans, teepees. If you go into the bush of Africa, round huts, teepees. Because shapes have something to do with the frequency you bring in. If it's flat, no frequency. That's why I won't live in a house that has a flat roof or an apartment. I wouldn't. But it all has to do with frequency.
Wow. Okay. It has something to do with frequency, but I'm assuming, is it high vibrational frequency compared to low vibrational frequencies?
Yeah, you get nothing with just flat.
Okay. Okay. All right, that's it. So a flat
And
roof is no frequency.
that's why the ancients built pyramids that would focus on the energy of the cosmos.
Yes.
And those, you see, the pyramids are like this.
Mm-hmm.
May I make a comment, please?
Sure.
The word pyramid means fire in the middle. And the first pyramid, technically speaking, the first pyramid in terms of what we conveniently call Western geometry is something that's a tetrahedron, which means it's a three-sided tent, okay? A tent made out of three equilateral triangles. But imagine that, I mean, hold on a second. Right, you see the thing behind me?
Mm-hmm.
You can't see the other side.
Yes.
There are four bars that are joined at the top. That's a tent. That's a three-dimensional form. It's related to a bunch of pyramids from ancient Africa in what's today called Somalia. So torsion physics is a term that's being gaslighted today because torsion physics points to the science behind the TP, behind the pyramid. And I could talk about this forever. That form that you see above me right there, that's an 8-pointed star inside of a spherical form. I don't think humans have ever seen this before. Okay, I said I don't think. I didn't say I don't. I know that they haven't. I just said I don't think humans have seen this before because I don't think another human has made one of these. But I don't know that to be a fact. Mm-hmm. Point is that 8-pointed star is doing something really amazing. But we won't go into that story. Let's just say that we're talking about torsion physics. But if you go look up torsion physics, you're likely to get some gobbledygook that's put out as disinformation to keep people from understanding what torsion physics is. Torsion physics is simply the science of shapes and forms. The pyramids have very specific functions. They have very specific energetic signatures. So that these pyramids in the Sudan, what's called the Sudan today, have a different shape from the pyramids on the Giza Plateau for a reason. We don't have time to get into that today, but we're talking about a science that has been hidden from the masses. And wow. It has everything to do with frequencies, but we don't have time to go any further.
Oh, yes. But you'll have to bring that one back. Go ahead, Maya.
Okay, so this is for Mr. Van Dorn. It's 3 quick questions. So one would be, what's one misconception about sacred geometry you would want to clear up for our viewers?
Well, I apologize. I don't know what misconceptions exist. Can you state a misconception?
No, I'm saying that they may have.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
But
So, go ahead.
I don't know what kind of concepts people are walking with about sacred geometry. You know,
so one that I would hear, and I would hear this from the church side, with just the different shapes of stuff, and they're saying that it's again, they're going back to stating that it's witchcraft in a bad way.
Yeah, but you know, forgive me. I don't want anybody coming at me with any. I'll use the word stupid, and I'm not. You know what I mean by that is if I make a declarative statement about what these people are doing in terms of tricking their or attempting to trick and deceive the members of their congregation. Okay, that's a deep bowl of something that I don't want to step into. Hello, okay. I'll leave that alone. Please.
No, understood. Yeah. Okay, so what do you hope? Go ahead. You was about to say something, Shelley? Okay. So what do you hope the listeners feel after this conversation? Or what do you want for them to gain from this conversation that we've had?
I would hope that something that I have said has sparked their curiosity to the point where they say, I need to know more. That's all I can say. I would hope, my only hope would be that I have sparked I've inspired someone to ask the question, give me more.
Okay.
That's all. Yeah. Because there's a lot more to be given. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we have barely touched the tip of an iceberg here. Right. We barely touched the tip of an iceberg. Was there another?
And to add to that, Miss Octavia Ward earlier when I was going through the slides said like the presentation was beautiful. So that sacred geometry is some really good stuff. Okay, so let me do this. Let me go ahead and bring it in because we're about to hit our 2-hour mark. Shelley, any final words, comments, and also let the people know how they can get in touch with you.
So many final words and comments. I'm trying to make mine brief, but one thing for sure for Maya, which said was taught in certain houses, everything like Mr. Van Dorn said is turned around. What was once good, they tell you is bad. So I hope, like he said, it sparks everybody's curiosity and they do their own research because the truth is out there. Yeah. 2, I wish people understood the importance of frequency, vibration, I think are the same thing. But all those shapes he was showing us, when you put sand on a tin or something and you vibrate it or put the right frequency in it, it makes all those shapes naturally just through vibration. And that just shows the importance of you vibrating, and which I just knew but relearned, breathing correctly so you manifest all that within you, which is the beginning of the form of the geometry in you that starts the healing. So that. Say that again. See, now I'm gonna fumble it, but I was gonna say, once you learn your breathing and your vibration, it will begin the sacred geometry in you that will manifest all the healing and knowledge you need and awaken DNA and stuff to understand. Well, you already know all this stuff, but it will open you up to understand it and learn it and love it and need it. So,
hey, Shelley, and understand it.
Exactly. Once you get there, can't put too much on them because then they get lost. Not in a bad sense, but it really is a process. There's nothing that's gonna happen overnight. Nothing in 2 hours you could cover. And like I said, it's just, I don't even know what's less than the surface. This isn't even the surface of what it could be. So you just have to learn and seek, and you shall find. Definitely that. So just in closing, that do your own work. Read. I'll tell everybody to read. Please read. Read. Keep your mind off what's not for you. If it ain't got nothing to do with you, just work on yourself. That's it. It's only you. Ain't no one here that's gonna come save you. It's just you. And what you see, what you understand, what you get out of this life solely depends on you, where your mind is at, where your energy is directed, all that good stuff. So just work on you, do you. And once again, go ahead.
Nothing.
No,
Okay.
your words remind me of something that we've covered before on Sister Tammy's program. Be still and know.
100%. So yeah, with that, I do all real estate, anything real estate. Find me, call me, contact me. Email butter3d@gmail.com. My Facebook is Shelly Sims. It's my name is right there. And I just want everybody to learn and grow and pay attention to themselves. That's it. Focus on you. Seek ye in ye. However that saying goes. That's where God's at. If you're looking for God, that's where he's
The
at.
kingdom of heaven is within.
Yes. Yes.
It is within.
You'll find them.
And look, I'm sure if Miss Sylvia was next to you, she would have gave you high five when you told the people to read. Because she is always saying it don't cost nothing to read.
Don't worry about no one else, because they might not be vibrating on your level. Worry about you, and who the message is for will get it, and that's who you'll attract to, and you'll build from there.
No. There's a high price to pay for reading. You have to withdraw your attention, which is your only resource, from what would be called the stupid. Okay. You have to withdraw your attention from the stupid, which means the charade or the parade, whichever. And Sister Sylvia asked us to consider what's that thing about the lover thing, Sylvia? Fine.
Oh, watch your lovers, your smartphone.
Yeah,
Get
right,
rid of your lovers. You have to get rid of our lovers.
Yeah. And
that's what the monks. That's what the monks with the walk of peace. That's his slogan.
They put it in your face because television before they got to let you know everything. It was a television program. It's programming. Watch who's programming you.
And y'all want to know what's so funny? I can't tell y'all how often I walk out and leave my phone. I literally have to come back, and I'm like, what is it with me and this phone? I drop it all the time. I walk out and leave it.
The universe is telling you something. Everybody our age, we grew up without phones and we lived just fine. We made it home without GPS.
And we had a good time.
Yeah, we was just, trust me, you will be okay. Trust the process. It's scary.
Our map was a GPS.
Yes.
That's it. All right, Maya, the queen, thank you so much for being here and the questions that you asked. I'm so excited about the value you're bringing to Real Talk. So do you have any final words for the people, and share with the people your services and how they can get in contact with you?
Okay, so mine's for myself. It's for me. What I got for it was for me, to work on me and inside of me and learn more. I want to know more. So I'm gonna read, Miss Sylvia, and learn more. So that's my take on it. For the people is what they want to do with it. But for me, I want to know more. They can find me at Empire Hair Loft and Bruised B&B on Instagram. I'm a stylist and I have a domestic violence nonprofit.
Amen. Nice. Abuela.
Okay, I'm gonna do this quick. I wrote it down so I wouldn't ramble. When I talk about reading, your eyes are connected to the brain, which puts waves on the brain. So we don't want to have a soft brain. We want to have a brain that has wrinkles. So your eyes are connected to the brain. So it's important to read and important to write. The other thing, I don't want to forget this part, breathing. When he talked about breathing, helps us to return to who you are, your center. And I'm glad that I saw that sacred geometry you did with the Sankofa symbol, because I never thought about it like that. That was beautiful. I might have to break my bank account. Okay. The other thing, you talked about there were sacred women that the men went to ask whether they should go to war. Those women were the ancient sibyls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they were the ancient sibyls. The other thing, green, the color of nature. That's why we should all, gives us solence. That's why we should always go outside. The archons want us inside too. That's why it's snowing. But I don't care. I go outside. I get somebody to clean that ice. I'm going out. So the green, that was good. The color of nature gives us solence. The other thing, the breath is God. That's our home. And for me, the last thing, I spent 29 years in the Christian church. That was part of my journey, which got me where I am today, which is still not that far. Okay. It was just a part of my journey.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. Of course. Very, very, very good recap. I love it. I love it. All right. Go ahead, Shirley. I
One
see you.
thing just before, because I forgot also with the shapes and the flow of energy. If you recall, back in the day, everything was pyramid, or Victorian days, our houses were round. If you go to India and all those places, the buildings are round. That's all what contributes to the flow of your energy. Now everything is square and flat, and that's also how they keep you dumbed down to yourself, which is why it's so important to spend more time outside so you could flow and get what's given to you. That was all. Sorry. Thank you.
No, you listen, y'all, I have made it no secret. I'm big on nature and all that good stuff. Mrs. Abuela, I'm gonna have to get out there in the cold. I ain't gonna lie, I haven't really been out there in the cold, except for me and Maya was
look out there.
Oh, Maya, I told them the story, and I left out the part when I told you, oh, I could have locked the door. Maya said, I know you lied. Maya was like,
I want to say this to Dr. Maya. Yes. I wanted to say the 29 years was part of my journey. I graduated.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Mr. Van Dorn.
I'm in class, Miss Sylvia. I'm in class.
Okay.
I think you on your way out, sis. I think you on your way out. Mr. Van Dorn, this was absolutely amazing. I just so appreciate you, King, for this information. So do you have any final words to share with the people, and of course, how they can get in contact with you if they want to ask more questions or even buy some of your pieces?
Yeah,
your book.
I would ask people to. I would ask everyone to consider this. Consider the distinct possibility that you are the power. And when you go into the breath and you experience that power, you're not alone. Okay? That's why I made reference to be still and know. That's from the Judeo-Christian Bible, one of the Psalms. What that means to me is be still and know means to be still and become one with. Okay? The word know in the ancient tradition means to become one with. Be still and know simply means to become one with me. Now, you can translate that and you can make that mean anything that you want to. Father God, Mother God, it doesn't matter. But the divine, or the divine spark of consciousness that dwells in all of us, be still and become one with that. The rest takes care of itself. You can't do that without breathing properly. Okay? I'm through. Thank you. Thank you for asking.
Thank you. And how can they get in contact with you if they have any questions, if it's okay for them?
Yeah. VanDornHennett@gmail.com.
Yes, yes. Very, very, very.
He didn't talk about his book. I would like to talk about. He has a book. You can get it on Amazon. Love, Opera House of the Soul. Isn't that right?
Yes, that's right. Yes. Yes, that book had been waiting 35 years to be published, and I finally got still and quiet enough for the book to be published, and so it was published about 2 years ago. But it is a wonderful pointing in the direction of being still and knowing. Okay, yeah. Thank you, Sister Sylvia. Thank you.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Very good stuff, guys. I appreciate all of you. Miss P, if she's listening or sees this, we miss you. Hope all is well. So I'm going to go ahead and just let everybody know, for those who don't know me, I am Tammi B. I am a coach and spiritual mentor and author. As you can see, my book is on the screen. Actually, I co-authored one and I wrote one myself. So you can obtain more information from my website. You can use the one on the screen, www.thassawoman.com, or you can find my coaching services, whereas I can work with you one-on-one or in a group setting at www.tammib.com. So as always, with much love and gratitude, I thank the Queen, Miss Sylvia Abuela, my Gotti. I thank you, Mr. Van Dorn. I thank you. This was some gems, some wisdom. I appreciate you, Shelly. Shelly showed up. Shelly, look, Shelly said the elders are here tonight. I'm taking the ball cap off, so we got to see his shiny ball head tonight. And Queen Maya for joining us. She's going to be an ongoing member with us. So I'm so excited what the future has for us. So I thank all of you and my viewers. I thank you guys for your comments in the chat. And again, I ask if this conversation resonated, informative, please like, please share, and also please subscribe, as we're here weekly at 7:30 p.m. with new content. And just a reminder, well, not a reminder, next week, it's interesting, we were talking about religion, because next week we're bringing the clergy back that was with us. I think it was back in December when we had a talk about why the church doesn't talk about domestic violence and mental health. The part 2 of that conversation is taking place next Wednesday. So be sure to join us. So in closing, I leave you all with this. Wherever there is a human being, I see God given rights inherent in that being, whatever may be the sex or complexion. William Lloyd Garrison. So my words to follow that, as the Queen Mother told T'Challa on the Black Panther, show them who you are. Let them see the God, let the world see the God in you. God's power, which, interesting, we talked about that, and I have made this note before tonight. God's power is your inherent birthright. And as I always say, you are more powerful than you give yourself credit for. Walk in your power, walk in your knowing. Know thyself is to know God. Remember that. All right. Listen, you all stay amazing. Peace, love, and blessings. Good night to you.